Good day, friends. Namaskar, dosto. I am Dr. Sanjay Kalra, your friendly and familiar endocrinologist, and you're watching Dr. KK's Med Talks, Pharma Talks with Dr. Sanjay Kalra. आज के हमारे नॉन स्टॉप शो का 875वां एपिसोड है, 875th एपिसोड है, and this is part of the overarching KK Med Talk shows. In our series Pharma Talks, which takes place every Thursday these days, we invite industry leaders to join us for insightful discussions. Let's join a special guest today and let's see what today's theme is. Artificial intelligence, सब लोग इसके बारे में बात कर रहे हैं आजकल. Artificial intelligence and what impact it will have on medical communications and medico marketing. Now, let's see some news about this. 91% of all healthcare executives feel that personalized patient experiences can positively impact patient loyalty and outcomes. Those of us who get one-star reviews on Google know that this is true. AI algorithms can analyze patient data to predict healthcare needs and behaviors. So if you use these AI algorithms, then you can target patients with the right marketing strategy, with the right communication strategy, and you can get optimal outcomes. Frost and Sullivan expect that AI and cognitive computing, cognitive computing, will generate sales of over $150 billion. मुझे तो billion भी नहीं नापना आता. I don't know how many zeros it has. For the healthcare industry by 2025. And in case I forget, do remind me to ask our guest, 1 billion में कितने rupees होते हैं, कितने zeros होते हैं in the UK and कितने zeros होते हैं in US and Canada. AI-powered algorithms can analyze patient data, and these can identify specific demographics and preferences, and then these can help us create targeted advertising campaigns, precision marketing campaigns. तो सडनली अब मुझे लग रहा है वही चीज जो हम बात करते हैं मेडिसिन में अबाउट ड्रग्स, अबाउट इंटरवेंशंस, वही चीज कम्युनिकेशन में भी इम्पोर्टेंट है. सो देयरफॉर लेट्स सी आवर टॉपिक वंस अगेन, द इम्पैक्ट of AI on medical marketing and medical communications. And for this, let's introduce our guest. A warm welcome to Mohammad Najeeb Ashraf Sahab.
Hello, Dr. Kalra. Thank you so much for inviting me to the talk. Pleasure is on mine, sir. Thank you.
Warm welcome, Najeeb. Najeeb is from Canada. He is a very dynamic and entrepreneur known for his exceptional leadership skills and innovative approach. His smile is famous all the way from Vancouver up till Nova Scotia. Is that right, Najeeb?
Yes. Maybe. I'll try.
And beyond. And beyond. As the founder and CEO of Skywalk Consulting, he has successfully carved a niche in the business world. He offers cutting-edge solutions and strategic guidance to companies. And he has a great understanding of the various industries. Coupled with this passion for excellence, he makes a significant impact in the growth and success of his patients. And एक चीज जो हम देखते हैं कि नजीब के लिए जो definition है success की, that is not his own success, it is the success of his clients, of the people with whom he partners. So warm welcome, Najeeb Saab. Lots of people greeting you. No one from Nova Scotia or Vancouver so far, but Satinder Singh ji, Sheikh Harif Ayub, Swapna Jain madam from Vellore, Dr. VK Goyal, ये सब आपको राम राम, नमस्कार, सत श्री अकाल, welcome to India कर रहे हैं सब.
No, thank you so much, sir, and thank you everyone. Definitely, abhi it's just recently that I have moved here, but portion of and the majority of my working has been with different pharma companies back home, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Mumbai. And I just love how things are. But I think what happens is in medical writing, the global perspective is so critical and important that you actually learn a lot when you are a part of these different regions and domains. So thank you everyone. Thank you for a warm welcome, and I really appreciate you welcoming me over here. Thank you so much.
Ganesh Amboreji joins us in saying good evening to you. So Ganesh, it's early morning for Najeeb in Canada.
Hi Ganesh. Good morning, good evening. Thank you.
And Dr. VK Goyal पूछ रहे हैं, ये हम लफ्ज़, ये शब्द तो हम पढ़ते हैं हर जगह, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस. अब इंटेलिजेंस क्या है वो मुझे पता है, अब वो लुप्तजात हो रही है. डॉक्टर गोयल कहते हैं इट्स बिकमिंग एन एक्सटिंक्ट स्पीशीज, लुप्तजात हो रही है, दैट इज अ सेपरेट मैटर. बट आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस कहाँ से आती है? He says, I've learnt about Newton's laws, and I've learned about Einstein's laws. You cannot create matter out of anything. There is a law of conservation of mass. तो आप intelligence कहाँ से create कर लेते हैं? Artificial intelligence.
मेरा and it's a good point, Dr. Kalra, and I have had मतलब मैंने काफी लोगों से ये डिस्कस किया है, please allow me to talk in Hindi too because I miss that. uh, most of the times मैंने जितने लोगों से connect किया है, one of the key points यहाँ पर है कि मेरी company Cyborg is also researching on AI tools in medical writing. So as a part of that, I'm exposed to NLP, machine learning, a couple of these programmers, researchers, clinicians, जहाँ पर आप उनसे काफी सीखते हो, and one of the aspect that I want to bring in this talk, and maybe we can explore in this talk, is what does it mean for a medical writer to be able to see how to utilize this opportunity or technology in the way they write or develop content, whether it is for marketing, whether it is for medical communications, publications, no matter what you're looking at. जो भी create कर रहे हैं वो इंसान create कर रहे हैं, right? I mean to say people are creating it, whatever is being created. So all the hype about, mostly के आपको artificial intelligence is going to take over humans and it's going to, kind of remove jobs and remove opportunities. मैं उनको ये कहता हूँ, मेरी काफ़ी discussions हुई हैं कि बनाया तो इंसान ने है मशीन को, एंड इंसान ने ही उसको उतनी पावर दी है, उसको इतनी ट्रेनिंग दी है, फॉर देम टू ऑपरेट इन अ मैनर इन विच द ह्यूमंस वांट देम टू बी ऑपरेटेड, राइट? अगर आप उसमें कोई कोडिंग या कोई सॉफ्टवेयर आप उसमें माल फंक्शन कर दोगे या उसको थोड़ा गड़बड़ कर दोगे, सो देन यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू सी दैट द टेक्नोलॉजी इज गोइंग टू फंक्शन इन द मैनर इन विच इज सपोज टू बी फंक्शनिंग, right? Then what does the human do in that? So my point is, why is the human fearing technology so much? Technology is meant for your assistance. Artificial is because it's something which cannot mimic human like cognitive abilities. To say that's a very far-fetched way of looking at how technology could go. But आप artificial इसलिए उसको बोल रहे हो because it's not there to emote any feelings, emotions. It does not have a thinking capability, emotive capability like humans do. So it's artificial. It's produced by, it's kind of structured, programmed by humans to be operating in a way that they want to be operated, right? And it has a lot, as जैसे आपने बोला sir, it has a lot of applications in healthcare. We see a lot of them, not only now, it's been there for decades. Medical writing में काफी इसका use अभी हो रहा है, and we have heard so much about how these different softwares are coming up, technologies are coming up, and what does it mean for writers. And I would like to take up questions and maybe any inputs from people in terms of how do they think from a medical writing perspective, वो इसको कैसे देख रहे हैं, because I have had several conversations with different writers in different ways through the mentorship program that I do. People connect with me, and it's very important to kind of educate them. So that's my take on it, sir. Happy to have your thoughts on what you think too.
Other people also joining us, and we see that this concept of artificial intelligence is not new. Even when you go back to fiction from 150 years ago, you
Yes.
find that people have spoken about machines.
Yes.
Frankenstein is one example. You create something and then it destroys you. So do you feel that Frankenstein concept, Mary Shelley's concept, is still there subliminally in our brains, and that's why we fear technology?
It is to some extent. I would not say it's a fear. Perhaps it is also some things that we jump. It's like an iPhone moment at times when something new comes up, right? And we all jump into it because there's a lot of noise around what is coming, and how is it coming up. And for example, you see on LinkedIn too many people sharing too many opinions on, say, for example, ChatGPT or any new technology. Now, as I said, I'm talking from a point of view which I gather information from my experience of working with certain technologies, which is very limited to my reading and understanding of publications, evidences by different domain experts. So I'm not a domain expert. I'm a medical writing expert, but I've utilized these technologies to see how it could benefit for me. I don't have a fear of these technologies. I'm trying to see how I incorporate them for my learning and for my betterment and for my productivity and administrative tasks. Am I dependent on that? No, I'm not dependent on it. Because from a medical writing perspective, and it's a totally different mindset in terms of, okay, how do you develop content and put it all together. I think the Frankenstein way of looking at it is the fear could also be because people sometimes need to really internalize and think what's in it for them. Why do they have to fear? If they have to really fear, they could fear only if they are not really open to acknowledging technology as something which is very useful for them. If they're not, then they should fear because they will be removed by those who are in love with technology and can use it. So I think it's more of a noise, and I don't think so there's a need for anyone to fear technology. It's for our use, it's for our good, it's how we use it, it's all about it.
So that answers the question raised by Pooja ji. इन्होंने पूछा था, should a writer be scared that their job will be taken over by AI?
No, sir. And for Pooja, no. Why? Because as I said initially in the beginning, it's the humans who have developed this technology, right? Number one. Number two is for all these technologies to be able to mimic humans, like have cognitive abilities like human does, it's going to take ages. It's going to take decades and decades before it reaches there. The stage in which we are right now, and maybe we have reached, so there's something like a very narrow generative artificial intelligence kind of picture that we are in at this moment. Now you go a little ahead, it could be somewhere in between, wherein different applications dekhte ho jahan par, you're driving a Tesla, wherein you're self-driving, and all of these things which are managing your driving, wherein you don't have to do anything. It is also something like a bionic pancreas. And I will give you that example, sir, of bionic pancreas, wherein I am a type 1 diabetic patient for 33 years. Okay. I am on insulin pump, and I am participating in a clinical trial which is testing this closed loop system, which has this complete automation. So, from manual, so a little bit of manual handling versus going completely automated. It also depends on how the patient is involved for them or engaged for it to derive that much outcome. So the technology will be useful only if the patient is really engaged in that aspect. Writers who do not, so coming back to the writers who do not adapt to the changing environment by learning about technology could be a threat of losing jobs versus those who are actually utilizing it. Now, for example, I foresee that in the future, we may not need jobs like research assistants who are doing these literature searches and analyzing or collating this information and, depicting certain things over there. This could perhaps be related with more value added profile for a person or within a company. So there will be more evolution of roles. Perhaps the junior, more repetitive tasks may not be needed. You may have, this for more administrative tasks. So maybe the project managers and all may need to maybe evolve their education, their training to kind of move up the ladder. So agar wo nahi karte hain, then their job is a threat. But otherwise, you do need writers to think creatively and write on their own. Technology cannot, as of now, summarize things, and we can talk more about that when we talk about chat GPT or anything. I'm sure we all have different examples.
नकीब साहब ने एग्जाम्पल दिया बायोनिक पैंक्रियास का या इंसुलिन पंप है। तो खुद मैं एंडोक्राइनोलॉजिस्ट हूँ और हम ये काम करते हैं। जब आप कोई भी टेक्नोलॉजी लाते हैं डायबिटीज में, आपने मान लो ग्लूकोमीटर इस्तेमाल करना है, ग्लूकोमीटर से अपग्रेड करके आपने CGMS कंटिन्यूअस ग्लूकोज मॉनिटरिंग इस्तेमाल करनी है। इसमें और ज्यादा पढ़ना पड़ता है। अकेले CGMS की मशीन लगाना या इंसुलिन पंप लगाना, उससे तो एक्चुअली थिंग्स विल बिकम वर्स इफ द पर्सन इन चार्ज इज नॉट एजुकेटेड। तो लिटरेसी, न्यूमरेसी ज्यादा चाहिए। यही एनालॉजी उन्होंने दी मेडिकल राइटिंग के लिए कि जब अब AI आ गई है तो इसका मतलब आपको और ज्यादा पढ़ना लिखना है। You have to be aware of how to utilize it.
Utilize it. So think of it as a mind shift, Dr. Kalra, right? It's like instead of looking at it as a threat, look at it as something which is going to assist you and make you better for your learning and for your development professionally. अगर आप वो नहीं करोगे तब आपको फियर होना चाहिए. अगर आप कर रहे हो देन यू आर गुड, यू डोंट हैव टू रियली फियर बिकॉज यू आर एन एक्सपर्ट इन योर डोमेन एंड यू नीड टू कीप लर्निंग. आप और मैं, हम लोग सब लोग आज तक लर्न कर रहे हैं. वी आर लर्निंग इवन टू डेट, राइट, नो मैटर हाउ मच एक्सपीरियंस वी आर.
एंड लर्निंग इज पार्ट ऑफ लाइफ. तो अब क्वेश्चंस काफी सारे अब पाइल अप हो गए हैं, लेते हैं. बट लर्निंग इज पार्ट ऑफ लाइफ. एक कॉन्सेप्ट होता है ड्रिफ्ट और एक होता है शिफ्ट. अब ड्रिफ्ट के हिसाब से अगर आप देखें तो एवरी डे वी आर लर्निंग न्यू थिंग्स. कभी कुछ सीखते हैं, कभी कुछ. दैट इज व्हाट रेजिलियंस इज. रेजिलियंस ऑफ द ह्यूमन रेस. जब आप ड्रिफ्ट की तरह लेते हैं इन सब चीजों के, कि रोज आप थोड़ा थोड़ा नया नया सीखते रहे अपनी जॉब में, अपनी नौकरी में, अपने व्यवसाय में, इन योर प्रोफेशन, इन योर जॉब, देन यू डोंट हैव टू वरी. अगर आप इसको शिफ्ट की तरह देखें, ब्लैक एंड व्हाइट की तरह देखें, दैट yesterday I was writing in black, now today I have to write in white ink,
Yeah,
then
yeah,
that becomes scary, but we don't need to look at it that way.
correct.
Many questions coming up, and we'll take a question from Dr. Utsav Sahu. Dr. Sahu is one of our leading diabetologists from New Delhi. He says, how can AI, specific question hai, how can it help doctors improve their online profile? I write blogs, I write them well. ये मैं भी मानूंगा because मैंने पढ़े हुए हैं डॉक्टर उत्सव के blogs. Maybe I'm not able to reach the right audience. So how can I use AI to take my blog to the right person, the person who needs it?
करेक्ट, थैंक यू डॉक्टर उत्सव. इस पे मैं ये कहना चाहूंगा सर कि देयर आर डिफरेंट फेसेट्स टू इट. सो टेक्नोलॉजी इज वन पार्ट दैट कुड असिस्ट, जो कि आपको असिस्ट करेगी इन टर्म्स ऑफ मे बी क्रिएटिंग योर कंटेंट इन अ मैनर जो आप क्रिएट करना चाहते हो. नाउ आप ऑलरेडी कंटेंट क्रिएट कर रहे हो, यू आर द एक्सपर्ट, राइट? Now technology can enhance. Now there are chat gpts that are different copy editing tools which can be used to kind of generate content. And I'm sure ke aapko bhi pata hoga ki in terms of what are the repercussions with respect to hallucinations and with respect to how exaggerated information which the tool can present with facts which don't really exist या उसके references नहीं है. Now there are different sides to it from a business perspective. In order for it to reach the right audience, something could be a predictive analysis, analytics, in terms of for you to see कि आपका topic patient के लिए है, उनके families के लिए है, HCPs के लिए है, किसको आप टारगेट कर रहे हो, बिकॉज वन कंटेंट कुड बी व्यूड बाय डिफरेंट पीपल. नाउ इफ यू स्टार्ट पोस्टिंग दैट, देयर हैज टू बी अ प्रेडिक्टिव एनालिटिक्स जो कि गूगल भी प्रोवाइड करती है, कुड गिव यू एन अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ कि आपका ऑडियंस, फॉर एग्जांपल डॉक्टर संजय कालरा को गया, हु इज एन एंडोक्राइनोलॉजिस्ट, ये गया नजीब अशरफ को, हु इज अ मेडिकल कम्युनिकेशन एक्सपर्ट, इट गोज टू पूजा हु इज ऑल्सो अ मेडिकल कम्युनिकेशंस एक्सपर्ट. तो आपको 3 प्रोफाइल मिल गई. आपने एक महीने, और इसी तरीके से आपको 100 प्रोफाइल मिलेंगी. नाउ व्हेन यू स्टार्ट लुक एट इट ओवर अ मंथ एंड आपने देखा कि इट वेंट, माय पोस्ट वाज लुक्ड एट बाय 10 एंडोक्राइनोलॉजिस्ट एंड 50 मेडिकल राइटिंग एक्सपर्ट्स, तब आपको देन इट विल काइंड ऑफ प्रेडिक्ट कि इस टाइप के कंटेंट पे आपकी रीच इतनी हो सकती है. देयर इज प्रेडिक्टिव एनालिटिक्स टू दैट. There are other tools. I'm not propagating any use of such tools. My intent is not that, but I know that there are tools which has reached out to me telling me that कि मेरा content could be reached to maybe, अगर मैं organically 100 लोगों को reach कर रहा हूँ, maybe by different mechanisms and tools and maybe by different subscriptions, it could reach to 1,000 people. Okay, and now that's a business side of it. Now I don't really believe in that. I believe in organic thing, because then when I look at some posts and some people have 1,000 likes or some likes, I also understand that at the background there could be a team that could be liking this. There could be some chatbots or robotic liking to that, which could be a little fake. So you need to be very careful. I feel that organic is slow, consistent, but it reaches the right people over a period of time. All we just need is consistency. अगर आप एक blog post कर रहे हो, same time, same day, keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. You will find the audience over, you can use tools, you can utilize it. I would discourage, that's not, that's my personal opinion, I would discourage the use of any such subscriptions or models which will help you pay for such outreach एंड इंक्रीज कर सकते हैं आप, मतलब आपके ऊपर, आपकी चॉइस है. आई डोंट डू दैट. मेरे पास बहुत सारे ऑफर्स आए हैं कि आप ये कर लो, वो कर लो, वी विल मेक योर प्रोफाइल रीच हियर, रीच देयर. आई सेड आई डोंट नीड इट. I'm good at what I do, and I'm perfectly fine with what I post or I don't post. I don't really need to do that. So I hope that helps, Dr. Utsav. पता नहीं मैंने आपको कितना आंसर किया है कि नहीं, but I hope that
So I
helps.
think one thing that is coming out is consistency. जो भी आप frequency अपनी बना लें, just stick to that. And second is keep on checking who is reading your blogs, and then you create content for those people, and then gradually become better and better at it. And create
Engagement
an
is important, Dr. Kalra. Yes, engagement. So for example, if मैं post कर रहा हूँ, but I would like them to be engaged. So what kind of content can I create for people to be engaged and maybe respond back, have their queries solved and engage in that discussion? I think that's also critical. In my opinion, I do that personally, and I find it very useful.
So create something that is two way, जहाँ पे आप बात सुन भी सकें सामने वाले की.
Correct.
निकिता अग्रवाल जी पूछती हैं, सर प्लीज टेल अस इफ देयर आर एनी एथिकल कंसिडरेशंस that must be kept in mind while using AI in medical marketing or medical communication.
There is huge ethical implications when it comes to there are issues of transparency, accountability, privacy, data confidentiality, permissions that we need to use it. So please understand that whenever you're generating content using any tool, unless it's a very generic topic, okay, it's okay. For example, you're talking about prevalence of type 1 diabetes in India, for example. तो वो जनरल इन्फॉर्मेशन आपको पेपर से मिल जाएगी, आप खुद भी लिख सकते हो उसको. यू मे यूज अ टूल टू काइंड ऑफ समराइज इट फॉर यू, बट वेरी क्रिटिकल इज फॉर यू टू फैक्ट चेक what the tool has generated for you, because it has the capacity to hallucinate and present information which could be factually incorrect unless you see it. It could be well written. There's a difference between well written and being factually incorrect. So it could be very well written. People will not doubt it. But when you start looking at deeper meanings versus, how it summarized, made a line that, oh, you know what, for example, the prevalence of type 1 diabetes in India is X percentage in South India, for example. मगर वो reference आप जाके देखोगे, perhaps the reference is wrong, the reference is made up, or that line doesn't exist in the paper. Right? So आपकी credibility as a writer, as a freelancer, as a content generator is at stake then, because आप ऐसी चीजें यूज कर रहे हो जिसमें आपने चेक नहीं किया. So अकाउंटेबिलिटी, ट्रांसपेरेंट, और आप ये जो कंटेंट आपने जनरेट किया यूजिंग अ टूल, उसकी अकाउंटेबिलिटी कौन लेगा? आप लोगे. So if you are not taking accountability because the tool has generated the content, the clients of yours are not going to trust you. They will say, oh Neha, tumhara, when you are not ready to take accountability, we can't trust your this thing. And you have to be transparent. You have to tell कि I have used this tool to derive this content, right? Sometimes the lines that they may pick up is something which is made up, because machines को आप जितना train करोगे वो उतना आपको उस तरह का output देंगे, right? Even if you train them to say not to hallucinate, they would still end up hallucinating, because imagine it's just a machine, right? Privacy concern, data confidentiality. You cannot use any of your company's data to be generating a summary. I tried doing that with ChatGPT for one of the manuscripts which was in the public domain, okay, and it was not able to kind of summarize things. It did summarize well reading wise, but not otherwise. But in a recent systematic literature review that I read, 97% of the records, which means I think they looked at 60 articles. So 97% of those records had issues related to ethics, copyright, transparency, legal, fabrication, plagiarism, lack of originality, incorrect citations, cybersecurity issues, and risk of generating content which is not actually factually correct. So you have to be very careful as a medical writer to see what kind of tool you're using and why you're using it, and you have to be transparent in your posts to write it as a reference that this tool has been utilized, all facts are checked, everything is correct, so that you don't land into a problem. So you have to be very careful about ethics in medical writing using a tool.
This point about hallucinations is right, and that is coming up more and more frequently as the AI tools are being used and misused more frequently.
Yes.
तो हमारे साइकेट्री में एक बीमारी है schizophrenia. और एक
Yes.
और बीमारी है डिल्यूजनल डिसऑर्डर्स. इसमें एक्चुअली हेलुसिनेशंस या डिल्यूजन्स होती हैं. सो यू कैन हैव डिल्यूजन्स ऑफ ग्रैंडियर, डिल्यूजन्स ऑफ परसिक्यूशन,
Yeah.
डिल्यूजन्स ऑफ लव एंड जेलसी.
Yeah.
सो अब मशीन्स जो हैं, जो एआई वाले हैं, हो सकता है उनको भी शिज़ोफ्रेनिया होता हो बीच बीच में. सो आई मीन दैट इज ऑफ कोर्स वर्क फॉर अदर पीपल. बट नैना अग्रवाल जी एक और क्वेश्चन पूछती हैं. uh, जब हम कम्युनिकेशन करते हैं या लिखते हैं, दैट इज क्रॉस सेक्शनल. And even if I write a different communication every week or every month, that is also, ठीक है, it is a longitudinal kind of a journey, but फिर भी cross sectional है each and every time. Is AI strong enough? क्या ये AI सक्षम है? Can AI help us in understanding and analyzing patient journeys? So we get lots and lots of data of people living with type 1 diabetes, for example. Somebody who's just been diagnosed, somebody who's been living successfully with the disease for 40 years. इस सबको इकट्ठा करके can we analyze the patient journey?
I think patient journey is a very good example. I think maybe यहाँ तो मैंने अभी use तो नहीं किया, but I know that there are predictive analytics which can be used even for say prediction of how these things are going to be could be useful. And there are different kind of machine learning programs. There are I think what could be used is in terms of deep learning or and that could be utilized with respect to how these scenarios are coming together in order to predict कि आपकी patient journey कैसी हो सकती है या होगी. Because what they do is they will predict the treatment outcomes or the protocols which a patient would likely want to follow, or the physician should suggest a patient based on previous patient attributes and treatment context and profiles. Okay, so this is something which I feel could be tagged under precision medicine say for example, if it's a rare disease, or maybe let's take type 1 diabetes in say adolescents less than 6 years, children less than 6 years. So usme, in terms of how they are being diagnosed, because one of the common things which AI is being used for is diagnosis and treatment outcomes, enhancing that learning कि उसको हम कैसे कर सकते हैं, and that could be done through big data or deep learning mechanisms, so that could be categorized under precision medicine. So this, over a period of time, when you generate these machine learning algorithms, put it in your coding for what you're looking at, it could predict treatment protocols or predict the pattern that a patient could take or treatments that are required based on various patient profiles that they could take from different registries, or various patient attributes or treatment context. I think yes, it can definitely do that, and I'm sure there are various companies doing this kind of heavy lifting AI work with respect to predictions and data generation. And then, so I think yes, this can definitely be done.
Thanks for that, Najib. Mayuri Mathur ji and Ankit Ahuja sahab पूछते हैं, can you please share some specific examples of how AI is being used successfully in medical marketing these days?
No, some examples could be, for example, मैं इसको दो चीज में categorize करूंगा. For medical marketing, if I will say, look at blogs and newsletters, or even infographics, for example. Right now, before all this, we know that there is Adobe. I'm not advocating any software or any use over here, but say you see Adobe has that all tools internally that could help you generate that very nice designs, placements of designs, and different structures, different patterns for that kind of stuff. And I know that people are using those kind of stuff. I use Adobe. I'm not using other names because I don't want to really want you to really think I could provide that information later. But you could use that to not only generate content but also design your stuff, right? Design what you're presenting. It could be visually graphical abstracts, for example, infographics, 1 pages, 2 pages, right? The content could be generated by you via summary. You could use the designs of these, whatever you wish to do. You put the content and the design comes all together on your own. It is there even on Microsoft PowerPoint presentation, right? You see on the right side कि आप कुछ content उसमें डालो, वो automatically आपको कुछ patterns बना के दे देगा, right? You go to different tools, you will be able to kind of include it over there, and they will be able to kind of generate that uh, designed for you for the content that you're putting together. Various tools that could be used. I'm not specifying on any one of them right now, but there are good examples of how these are utilized. But as I said, one thing that we need to keep in mind is the ethics part of it, the plagiarism part of it, and also your content should be original, right? If you are using any source as an information, you have to be very critical to reference that at the bottom to tell that this content is, or maybe you need to take permission if you're using some figures or images as is from any other publication. वो सब बातों का ध्यान आपको रखना पड़ेगा. But I think specifically for medical marketing kind of stuff, AI tool is being used considerably. The only thing that I'm concerned about when I look at anything is this fact checked? Is this correct, factually correct? Has the writer or the author checked for all these contents? मेरे दिमाग में वो सवाल रहता है because normally we see wow it's good और मैं fact checking नहीं करता हूँ. That's the mistake that you make as a content creator if you're doing it.
So Vinayak Sharma ji, Ishita Goda have also joined us, and the message I am getting is कि ये जो AI है, it helps you save time. जो otherwise human checking होती थी,
Yes.
वो अब machine कर देती है आपके लिए.
Yes.
But ऐसा भी नहीं है that you trust it blindly. The
Yes.
same way, let's say you have juniors or colleagues doing a fact check for you.
Yes.
वकालत है या medical science है, so you tell your juniors or your colleagues to go out and read the journals.
Yes.
पहले सब handwritten ऐसे पलट के पढ़ते थे. अब सब गूगल स्कॉलर और पबमेड पे पढ़ते हैं, ऑनलाइन पढ़ते हैं. बट यू डू क्रॉस चेक इन बिटवीन, यू कीप ऑन डूइंग इनफॉर्मल और फॉर्मल ऑडिट्स. इसका हर चीज का ऑडिट आपको करना पड़ेगा. यू हैव टू क्रॉस चेक इट.
Absolutely, sir. Because अगर आप देखो, for example, Dr. Kalra, कि say I think there is Grammarly and other tools जहाँ पर वो grammars आपके check करते हैं, ये check करते हैं. But most of the time you will also see that they end up missing a few things अगर आपको पता नहीं है कि what are the basic grammar requirements for this. मेरा worry ये है इसमें, and that is for the new age writers that are coming up right now. Too much dependency on the tool at a very early age may perhaps make them devoid of certain skills to pick up certain very basic things that they should actually catch, right? जहां पर उनको ये जानना चाहिए कि मेरा grammar sentence structure कैसा है, what are parallelisms, what should I be looking at when I'm kind of constructing two pieces together, does this make sense or not? मैंने एक जगह पे change किया, दूसरी जगह पे नहीं किया, इसका impact क्या हो रहा है? टूल तो बता देगा आपको. Tool is predictive, it will just tell you what needs to be done. You need to think whether that change that they're suggesting to you makes sense or not, and whether you should do it or not, and you should read and check it. Too much dependency on the tool could actually be detrimental to very new age writers who will be totally depending on that. And if the tool is gone, the writing is gone. They may not be able to create content. So I propose otherwise. I say for a writer, they need to know how to QC. They need to know how to fact check. They need to go to the publication, read it, understand, and then summarize it on their own before they start using the tool. Otherwise, I think it could be dangerous for different writers if they want to grow up the ladder.
Najib Sahab, this naughty question coming up, and the question is, how do you define a new age writer?
When I say so I'm a writer myself, guys, and I'm very passionate about it. The reason I have steered into doing what I'm doing right now is because I feel we have to set up an ecosystem, and I think Pooja is doing a very wonderful work, and even with Dr. Kalra, in spreading education and awareness about how you should be looking at enhancing your knowledge, education, awareness of how ethical and transparent medical writing should be for every writer, and they should be aware about it. When I say new age writers are people who may want to move to medical writing just because they see it as a trend. Okay, I'm not saying it is wrong. Somebody may want to have a shift of heart and say कि अच्छा मैं shift करना चाहता हूँ या चाहती हूँ for medical writing because I see this as a good source. But if you're shifting to medical writing because you think it's a work from home mostly, मुझे घर पे time मिलेगा, इसीलिए मैं medical writing में आना चाहता हूँ या आना चाहती हूँ, and if you're not passionate about writing or medical or science or patients in general, perhaps your survival could be a little difficult. आप सोच रहे हो कि मेरे पास tool है, मेरे पास graphics tool है, मेरे पास content tool है, मैं सब generate कर दूंगा, and I will be like quick to go. But you are just maybe less than a year old, or maybe a year old in medical writing. I'm still writing for 15 years. I write a lot of publications. I have 35 papers. I have 10 more papers ongoing right now. I still, अगर आप आज भी मुझे पेपर दोगे, I would love to sit and write a paper rather than doing any of the business related stuff, right? So my way is not to discourage anyone newly coming into this, but on check for yourself, why are you coming over here? Aapka why should be very strong. Your why should be based on your interest in medical writing and making a difference over there. आपकी क्वालिटी में फिर उसमें बहुत डिफरेंस आएगा. यू नो यू शुड गेट इन टू दिस बिकॉज नॉट बिकॉज ये बहुत अच्छा थीम है. अभी कोविड हो गया तो बहुत सारी जॉब्स हैं इसमें. घर से काम करने को मिल रहा है. वो सब पर्क्स हैं. फाइन. Are you passionate about it? Are you going to make a difference, or is it just a job for you? There's nothing wrong in that, but your why should be strong, you know. And my point is, अगर आप बहुत dependent हो tool में very in the beginning and you don't know the basics, आपका structure strong नहीं है. Think of it as a building जिसका structure strong नहीं है. आप जितना ऊपर चले जाओ, अगर structure strong नहीं है तो कभी ना कभी गिर जाएगा नीचे. आपका structure strong है, आप उसको किसी भी level तक ले जा सकते हो.
There is a concept known as literary forensics. Literary forensics, and Dr. Pradeep Rawal from Ujjain has also joined us. Raja Prabhakar ji को भी welcome करते हैं, and also Tanuja Bish madam को. Literary forensics हमें ये बताता है कि जैसे मान लो 10 आर्टिकल लिखे हुए हैं, 10 मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट, और जो फोरेंसिक स्पेशलिस्ट हैं वो ये पढ़ के बता देंगे कि ये 6 आर्टिकल जो हैं ये एक शख्स ने लिखे हैं और ये 4 जो हैं किसी और ने लिखे हैं. वो आपके बर्ड्स, एंड्स, दीज, कॉमास, फुल स्टॉप्स देखते हैं. They see the preferential use of certain commonly used words. वो ये भी शायद बता दें फोरेंसिक्स वाले कि ये पर्टिकुलर आर्टिकल जो है किसी खुश या रोमांटिक आदमी ने लिखे हैं. अजीब स्माइल, यस, देखा, पता चल जाता है. एंड ये जो 4 हैं ये किसी खड़ूस आदमी ने लिखे हुए हैं. दैट आल्सो यू कैन डू. सो नजीब, विद एआई, do you think literary forensics will have a role? Will we be able to make out, money questions coming up now, will we be able to make out that this particular piece of work has been AI generated and this has been written by a human being? Will,
I think
will the AI begin mirroring, let us say Tanuja ji or Raja ji or I, we begin using AI again and again. Will the AI become like us? Will it begin writing like Tanuja or Raja or Sanjay?
As I said, Dr. Kalra, what you feed into the machine will pour you out like that. Second is, machine in general will need to be trained in order for it to predict and take that as a repetitive activity. That is why, जैसे मैंने शुरू में बोला था कि ये जो repetitive activities हैं उसकी demand कम हो जाएगी for people. They have to move up their expertise and experience and knowledge to move up the ladder. वो jobs ये लोग ले लेंगे, AI ले लेंगे, robotic kind of thing, because it's repetitive activities में इतना दिमाग नहीं लगाना है, right? But as a part of evolution of maybe looking at, जैसे अगर ये AI related things हैं, उसको risk management could be a role that could come up in the future. Similarly, जैसे आप बोल रहे हैं, I don't deny that there could be a role of like a literature forensics role that could perhaps come up in the future. Somebody could think about that and see, predict कि अच्छा, what ये किसी ने लिखा है, and they are very happy, and इनका profile ये है, this person is of a very reputed academic profile, and इनके papers are much more genuine with respect to what kind of content are they creating, versus somebody who could be maybe less experienced and say it could pull out a report and say कि अच्छा इस topic पे ये बंदा या this person, this lady is producing content, but they are not very experienced in the topic. They have been maybe posting it for about less than a year or something. This could help companies maybe look at कि मैं डॉक्टर कालरा के पास जाऊं या मैं किसी एक्स पर्सन के पास जाऊं जिसके पास लेस एक्सपीरियंस है. सो मे बी इन business decision making, I'm sure this is going to come up in the future and will help us. And I don't think so it's going to be more public. It could be maybe utilized more internally within companies to see decision making. कि मैं in केवल, for example, I'm a type 1 diabetic patient. Now I'm planning to do a patient engagement article and I want to involve Dr. Kalra and say, okay, yeah, I want to involve certain physician and say कि मैं इनके साथ ये publication develop करना चाहता हूँ, along with certain journal. So फिर मैं देखूंगा, मैं अपनी टीम को बोलूंगा, अच्छा, which endocrinologist can we go to? This endocrinologist should have 100 publications, should be more than 10 years, should be this. And this is where the AI and the team could work and say, अच्छा, we have 10 profiles, इनकी ये credibilities हैं, and you could look at it and then you can make those decisions. So I'm sure this is happening to some extent. Perhaps the terminology जो आपने use किए Dr. Kalra could be maybe evolved in the future, but ये काम अभी भी internally होता है in one form or the other, right? It happens to make better decision making, faster decision making, to have better outcomes.
आपने अभी बात की पेशेंट एंगेजमेंट की, टाइप 1 डायबिटीज का एग्जांपल लेके, तो अंकित साहब फ्रॉम गुड़गांव ही आस्क्ड द क्वेश्चन, कैन वी यूज एआई पावर्ड चैटबॉट्स and can we train them to provide reliable medical information to patients? So how do we
Good.
go about creating this?
Yeah, sorry sir, I missed your last point.
How do we go about creating such a system?
Well, chatbots, I'll give you my personal experience as a patient, okay? But it's very subjective. Please understand that. I'm a person who uses technology for my benefit, and it augments my strength at certain levels. But mera satisfaction will be more when I talk to, say, an expert like Dr. Kalra face to face, okay, rather than having certain chatbots respond to my queries, because I know it's pre-populated based on the response that you give over there. Now I have actually gone to certain websites wherein I'm typing some questions or queries, and I know the chatbots come up and say, okay, are you looking for 1 2 3 4 5? I click on one. Based on one, it says, are you looking for 1 2 3 4 5? I'm looking for this. Yes, it helps. I would call that as a administrative task. So there are virtual assistants and chatbots which could help in doing the administrative tasks, in order to connect me to an expert like, say, Dr. Kalra. ये मैंने जो क्वेश्चन उसमें क्वेरीज रेज करूंगा, उसके बेसिस पे चैटबॉट विल से, okay, you know what, we have identified what you need for this. Maybe Dr. Kalra is the most suitable profile, for you to go to. So we'll connect you to Dr. Kalra, right? So yes, you could do that. I somehow feel that chatbots and stuff are definitely ways that could help with more administrative tasks, in order to lead you to the right kind of person for the better outcomes. But it also depends on how, when patients take care of themselves, when they're more engaged, with respect to how they want to use this information for themselves. But agar aap mujhse puchoge, as a patient, for me, I know that it's an artificial intelligence technology. I would rely on my experience of maybe 33 years as a diabetic to see कि मैं अगर डॉक्टर कालरा से बात कर रहा हूँ, I know that he knows stuff. I would rather talk to him and go to him directly, than utilizing a chatbot to this, because I can research on my own, right? मैं खुद से research कर सकता हूँ. I can find 10 names very easily. But yes, some people who are not scientific could maybe use chatbots and use that information too. I don't know if that answers what you were looking for.
And a specific question from Godaji, Ishitaji, who says that avascular necrosis of the femur, ये हड्डी की बीमारी होती है, is becoming very common amongst young population. And then my request is to have a good discussion on this topic. This comment is from Dr. Ajay. So we'll do that, Dr. Ajay, on the 19th of June. We have Dr. Kumar Weber with us, and we will be speaking about bones, muscles and joints, BMJ, British Medical Journal, bones, muscles and joints. तो उसमें हम ये डिस्कस करेंगे. And ये इसलिए रेज कर रहे हैं because जैसे नजीब जी ने कहा कि I would reach out to a doctor. So what Dr. Ajay is also saying कि let's just talk about AVN, and maybe KK Med Talks is a preferred source of information.
Absolutely. I would, maybe Dr. Kalra, maybe I use this platform right now to even say, I'm sure कि आपने काफी मतलब इसमें पहले talks हो चुकी होंगी, but one of the topics that I may want to discuss and share my views on is also patient-physician engagement. And how that translates into what kind of trials are being developed right now or planned right now, in terms of having those outcomes, and the impact that the patient engagement has on publications. Specifically, if you just take, say, type 1 diabetes for an example, as I mentioned to you, I'm participating in a clinical trial. I KOLs, a lot of physicians, my perspective versus the physician perspective. How do they both get together to create a solution which is very useful for an overall broader patient population, right? So that's the patient engagement piece, which I'm involved with different organizations. And, I'll be happy to kind of discuss with you and the team if that's a topic in the future that we're thinking about.
That we will certainly do in the month of July. एंड पर्सन सेंटर्ड मेडिसिन जिसकी नजीब साहब बात कर रहे हैं, ये एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है। पर्सन सेंटर्ड मेडिसिन, अलग अलग टर्मिनोलॉजीज यूज होती हैं
Yes.
अक्रॉस द वर्ल्ड। Patient centered care, person centered medicine is what is being used right now,
Yeah.
and this is something that is very important, and we all need to change the way we think. ज्यादातर क्या होता है कि जब भी आप किसी भी मैदान में उतरते हैं, whether it is the social media, whether it is KK Med Talk, I think KK Med Talks is the only exception in the world, तो आप एक confrontational तरीके से चलते हैं कि मैं सही हूँ, बाकी
Correct.
सब गलत, सिर्फ मेरी मर्जी चलेगी। That is confrontation. There is actually no need to confront. मतलब मुझे तो कोई रीजन ही नहीं दिखता why there should be confrontation in the world for anybody, any two groups. From confrontation you can come down to competition. ठीक है, अभी दो लोग हैं, Skywalk है and और companies भी हैं, so you can compete, but it can be a healthy competition. You both keep on improving. Like now we'll compete with AI and we'll become better than AI.
Absolutely, sir. Very, very good point. In fact, one of the things that I talk very openly, and I'm using this platform to say that, express my views too. I believe there's a lot of collaboration that is needed amongst different experts and domain experts. Because, for example, I as a person, मैं अकेला सब काम नहीं कर सकता हूँ, मेरे में कैपेसिटी नहीं है. I'm a human, right? मेरा फोकस, मेरा एक्सपर्टीज एक डोमेन में है. You ask me there, I can tell you anything over there. मगर आप कुछ और जैसे बोलोगे, regulatory में कुछ पूछोगे, I'm sure there are different people who are more experienced in there. And अगर कोई client, there are services that you need to provide. So, I'm open, and we talk about collaboration as the only way wherein you provide solutions to patients much more quickly than saying कि नहीं, मेरे पास नहीं आया तो उनके पास नहीं जाना चाहिए. नहीं, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. At the end of the day, it's the patient's life. What if the treatment doesn't come to me on time? Just because Dr. Kalra says कि नहीं, ये Najib as a patient should come to me only, वो किसी और endocrinologist के पास नहीं जाना चाहिए. नहीं, तो इसीलिए competition is fine, but it's more of a collaborative effort in terms of bringing solutions together for patients. That's going to make a lot of difference.
And that was the third word, collaboration. So from confrontation, you move to competition, but actually the ideal method would be collaboration.
Yes.
एक और तरीका है सोचने का, which is कि पहले dependence थी, so we were dependent upon, let us say, our colonial masters. फिर हम independent हो गए, तो चौड़े हो गए और ऐसे सीना तान के चलते थे कि we can do everything. But like Najib says, we have to understand that no single human being, no single organization can do everything. So instead of independence, if we look at interdependence,
Yes.
So Mr. Najib brings some things to the table, I bring other things, and we are interdependent.
Correct.
ये अंग्रेजी के लफ्ज हैं, अंग्रेजी के शब्द हैं, बट एक्चुअली इनका वर्णन इंडिया में भी किया गया है हमारी फिलॉसफी में. सो इन इंडियन पॉलिटिकल फिलॉसफी यू हैव द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ सत्याग्रह. सत्याग्रह वाज कॉइन्ड बाय महात्मा गांधी जी. Satyagraha means a search for the truth. So what he said was, when you come to the table, let us say you are marketing, you are creating content, you are dealing with AI or with other human beings, your aim should be to search for the truth. So if you come in thinking that I know part of the truth, Najib Sahab knows some other part of the truth, and maybe AI knows other part of the truth. So let's get it all together, and all of us win. It's a win-win situation for everyone.
Correct. And that's very important, Dr. Kalra. आपने बहुत सही बात कही है, because seeking knowledge, having that curiosity to learn is the only thing जो कि हमको इस फील्ड में रख सकती है या किसी को ग्रो कर सकती है, and that could only keep our minds more focused towards कि it's not Dr. Kalra versus Najib, it's not Najib versus anybody else, or it's not Dr. Kalra versus somebody else. नहीं, it's about what the science needs. Is this the truth? ये सच है कि नहीं है, right? And we are rationalizing based on the scientific evidence available for any particular topic or condition or discussions per se, right? And that's the way to reach provide solutions to the patients or to any clients that we are looking at. That's how the approach should be.
So curiosity is the key word here. And then when we look at the messages that are coming across, AI, how will it impact my life? How will it impact our life? So I think curiosity is something that will keep us ahead of AI. Because AI could be a curious being. Is that right, Najib?
Absolutely, sir. I mean to say, जैसे हमने पहले भी डिस्कस किया, आप जितना AI को ट्रेन करोगे, AI उतना ही आपको वापस देगी. Right? And I am, in my curiosity, I ended up looking a lot at Chat GPT with respect to what kind of outcomes it is giving me. I read a lot of publications, a lot of ICMJE guidelines are available right now कि उसमें authorship कैसी रहनी चाहिए, आप उस content को आपको किस तरह से treat करना है, right? My curiosity led me to go there and check that yes, it's a tool which could be made better in the future, but it's some time before it gets there. However, I need to be very careful about ethical challenges. Second, with respect to the augmented and exaggerated information that it can present very beautifully to me, which could be factually incorrect and not having the right sources, incorrect citations, right? And मैंने वो सब check किया है, I've checked all of those to see, किसी की published paper की summary बनाकर मैंने, and I saw that they have missed out a lot of things, ChatGPT, despite giving clear instructions on not to miss those, or maybe to write it at a certain grade level, but उन्होंने किसी और grade level पे लिख कर दे दिया, right? So what am I doing? I am maybe spending a lot more time in doing this than I would rather do doing research on my own, and then maybe complement it with this. जैसे डॉक्टर कालरा ने बोला ना कि मैं यूज करूंगा टूल, but I'm not dependent on the tool. I'm augmenting and seeing what I want from the tool, but I'm also very confident about my skill to find information, and मैं उसको augment कर रहा हूँ tool के साथ, so that it's a complete package. That's what I'm trying to do. So I think that's how the approach should be, when we're looking at it in the future.
And for curiosity, you don't need to go to Mars. आपको मंगल पे जाने की जरूरत नहीं है. Curiosity is the name of the rover that went to Mars and began searching about what's going on there on the surface of Mars. घर पे रह के, दफ्तर में रह के, इंडिया कनाडा में रह के भी आप curiosity practice कर सकते हैं. And if you do it in a sensible manner, curiosity won't kill the cat also. But एक point raise किया गया है, that is Chandrasekhar ji raise करते हैं, that we've been speaking about writing all the time, but there are lots of other things in communication apart from writing. You spoke about infographics, so brochures, websites, online ads, pictures. Can AI help us in this as well?
Yes, वो भी तो writing है ना चंद्रशेखर, राइट? आप उसमें भी कंटेंट, आप ऐसे आप जो भी पिक्टोरियली रिप्रेजेंट कर रहे हो उसमें तो आप कुछ डाल रहे हो ना कंटेंट. So when I say writing just does not mean कि आप ऐसे आप वो content so let me put it in a way, say content generation. ठीक, content generation में सब आ जाएगा, writing भी आ जाएगी, infographics भी आ जाएगा, pictorial representation, image representation, all of these things will come. And yes, it is being used. Websites में आपके website content generation में use होता है, इसमें आपको infographics में use होगा. Any kind of imaging. There's so many different tools for imaging, and pictorial representations. So many of them. I can name you, hundreds of them right now, which I don't want to do.
Just one niche. So the question which has been coming out, I'm a novice in this field. Can you just share any one simple tool for writing, any one simple tool for visual content generation, anything that comes to your mind?
So one simple tool for writing ke liye, sir, I would always say that you have currently, I will say, if I may want to use, you have Graphy AI. Okay, Graphy AI is something which is used for copy editing, and you can actually, it's a little more advanced in my sense, but that's I'm not promoting the use of anything right now, please, since you asked the example, I'm telling you, this is something which could be useful to use. You have ChatGPT anyways. People have looked at ChatGPT so much in terms of, how do you pull out content. To be, for someone who's newly getting into this, go to Adobe and see you have thousands of Adobe, packages with respect to, AI tools that could be used for graphical generation, and so many things are there in Adobe. It's just like one thing packaged all together. You get everything over there, right? Adobe and Adobe has been there for a very long time, and they have significantly enhanced their different content. आप जितने infographics or tools और ये सब की बात कर रहे हो, आप सब एक जगह पे कर सकते हो, Likewise, there are other independent tools and technologies, but maybe Adobe, ChatGPT, Graphy AI, these are stuff for writing, Graphy AI for writing, and Adobe for maybe more infographics and stuff that you can use.
A question by Priya Suhasini, madam. You had alluded to this. What is your opinion on concerns about privacy and data security when using AI?
I am really concerned about privacy and data confidentiality. Privacy because, when what I'm producing as प्रिया, जो हमने पहले पता नहीं आप अगर आपने सुना होगा, but पहले जो हमने डिस्कस किया था with respect to how the tool is summarizing content, it could present information about some patients, or anything related to a patient which could actually compromise patient privacy. ओके, इसीलिए आप किस तरीके से किस पेशेंट के बारे में लिख रहे हो या किस तरह से वो समरी हो रही है, दैट्स व्हाई फैक्ट चेकिंग बिकम्स इंपॉर्टेंट. डेटा कॉन्फिडेंशियलिटी, बिकॉज अगर आप किसी पेशेंट का डेटा चैट जीपीटी, आप जैसे ये इंफॉर्मेशन किसी टूल में डालते हो, इट स्टेज इन द डेटाबेस. तो आपने ऑलरेडी वहां पे कॉम्प्रोमाइज कर दिया है. अगर आप किसी कंपनी में काम कर रहे हो या आपने किसी टॉपिक या कोई डेटा लेकर आपने डाल दिया जो कि दिस डेटा इज नॉट येट इन द पब्लिक डोमेन, बट आपने टूल में डाल दिया है, वो टूल के डेटाबेस में बैठ गया वहां पर. नाउ व्हेन इट्स सिटिंग ओवर देयर, इट्स ऑलरेडी कॉम्प्रोमाइज्ड. Now yes, the companies say that yes, it is very confidential and all of this, but there are different rules and regulations when you're looking at transparency and data confidentiality. कि वो बोलेंगे कि हमारे टूल ने यूज किया है, तो ये कंटेंट जो हम जनरेट कर रहे हैं इज ऑल्सो पार्शली ओन्ड बाई अस, फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अनलेस यू हैव अ सब्सक्रिप्शन टू दैट, राइट. अगर आप फ्री में यूज कर रहे हो, you have really compromised the data, the patient security and transparency and privacy, because आपने वो information डाल दी है किसी और database में जो उनके पास अब access हो गया है, जो नहीं रहना चाहिए था, right? Unless you have a big subscription and agreement, confidentiality agreement with that company, and say कि जो हम आपको कर रहे हैं, it stays a property of ours and not yours. So these are very very tricky things that you need to be very careful. मगर जैसे I think I was discussing with Dr. Kalra, या आपने सुना होगा, एक generic topic है, जैसे कि effect of insulin on whatever, type 2 diabetes patients, बहुत सारी इन्फॉर्मेशन है. आप उसको जनरल एक इन्फॉर्मेशन निकाल सकते हो, उसमें आप पेशेंट का कोई डिस्कस नहीं कर रहे हो, बट यू नीड टू फैक्ट चेक अगेन. सो बी केयरफुल व्हाट यू आर इनपुटिंग इन देयर. इट गोज इनटू दैट डेटाबेस, सिट्स देयर. आप देख नहीं रहे हो पीछे क्या हो रहा है. द रीजन आई एम सेइंग दैट इज बिकॉज आई एम वर्किंग on these tools, and I know what sits behind, and how are these looked at and how these could be derived later. 10 साल के बाद आपको पता चलेगा कि मेरा डेटा यहाँ पर था and this is causing me trouble right now. Right, so just be careful, just be alert, mindful before you do these things. Just be mindful, that's it.
Point well taken. Be mindful. So I think that's what we've learned today from Najib Ashraf Sahab. AI is there, it's there to stay, but if you are able to harness it, if you are able to use it properly, then it should become a win-win situation for everybody. Be mindful of how you use it, be careful, and keep on checking, keep on cross-checking. And with this, if a last question that you allow us to ask, Mr. Ashraf, and this question was asked right at the very beginning. हमने ये सारी बात कर ली कि AI अच्छी चीज़ है, मगर AI ध्यान से यूज़ करनी चाहिए. AI हमारी मदद करेगा, but we should be more curious. We should sort of improve the quality of our work so that AI becomes a support for us instead
Correct.
of becoming a competitor. तो पूजा जी ये सवाल पूछती हैं, is there any specific skill 1 2 3 इस तरह से, or any specific qualification 1 2 3 which I need to gain so that I can incorporate AI in my professional life?
No, you don't need. Perhaps आपको technical skill नहीं चाहिए होगी, आपको soft skill चाहिए होगी. And these soft skills could come in the manner of कि आपको पता है technically आप कितने कहाँ पर हो, based on your training, based on your position, based on your experience. I never prefer positions to define कि आपकी depth कितनी है writing में या आप कितने experienced हो. Positions don't define that. For example, if I'm the founder of my company, my position does not define how expert I am unless I generate content which is accepted by my clients or the people that I'm developing it for. So the positions don't matter. आपको खुद से internalize करना है. So it's more of a soft skill. Please remember that. कि you need to see where you are, and how open are you to kind of, take this. So आपको mindful रहना है. Second, be curious, जैसे डॉक्टर कालरा ने बोला, curious to learn, curious to unlearn too. Unlearn. आपने पहले बहुत कुछ सीखा होगा, आपका एक स्टाइल है काम करने का, मगर अब ये चीजें जो नई आ गई हैं, इट में डिसरप्ट योर नॉर्मल वे ऑफ थिंकिंग एंड नॉर्मल वे ऑफ वर्किंग, राइट? If you unlearn those in order to incorporate this new style, into that could augment your learning and your expertise, then you will grow. अगर आप इसको ब्लॉक कर दोगे, बोलोगे नहीं आई एम द बेस्ट, ये मैं यूज नहीं करना चाहता हूँ या चाहती हूँ, then perhaps it could be detrimental for you in the future, maybe not right now. So unlearn what you have learned and try to see what new you can use it, and use it for your good, not because everybody else is doing it, not because you're seeing it on LinkedIn and saying कि सब लोग लिंक चैट जीपीटी के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं, सब लोग यूज कर रहे हैं तो मुझे भी यूज करना है, then only I'm in the race. You don't have to be in the race. You need to see where are you right now. Seek help from mentorship, guidance through people who know how to guide you. Don't, I always say that it's not on anyone. Magar, there's a lot of noise right now on a lot of things. I'm not saying it's for bad or for good, but you need to figure out आप किससे सलाह ले रहे हो, आप किससे पूछ रहे हो, आप किससे guidance ले रहे हो, but do what you really want to do to make a good decision. So I think it's more of a soft skill that you need to have than a technical skill in order for you to incorporate artificial intelligence and the use of technologies into how you're looking into bringing it, and आप पढ़ो lot of publications, train yourself, use it more. आप गलती करोगे, कुछ करोगे, use it more, use it the better. वो वही है कि पहले दिन आप ड्राइविंग के लिए जा रहे हो, you will put wrong foot on the pedal, accelerate करोगे, ब्रेक लगा दोगे, but at the 10th day you will perhaps drive much more better. After 1 month you will drive very fluent, right? Same scenario applies anywhere. It's a soft skill. आप जितना यूज करोगे उतना आप कन्वीनियंट होगे उसको यूज करने में, and you will feel much better and much relaxed. You can't learn it in a day. Medical writing or writing or content generation cannot come in a day. It takes a lot of time to put things together.
I think that's a great take-home message. Just take it as part of life and don't think of everything in terms of black and white, or in terms of yes or no, or in binary terms. Just take it as part of life and enjoy the journey of learning, enjoy the journey of curiosity. With this, it's been an hour already, Najeeb Saab. Thank you so much for your time. We acknowledge, we appreciate the expertise that you bring to KK Pharma Talks. We have Faraz and Prateek with us backstage. Faraz, could you please show a certificate of appreciation for Mr. Najeeb Ashrafji?
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Kalra. Thank you so much, everyone. It's my pleasure. It was really, really nice, interacting with you. I hope I helped answer some of the questions in the best possible way I could have. But as I said, I'm very open to see agar kisi aur ko any other questions. If you ever find that somebody has come with any specific question that I could help with in the future or any time, please feel free to reach out to me. I'll be happy to answer what I possibly can answer. If I cannot answer, I will lead you to somebody who's more expert in that particular question or domain, and we'll try to see. As I said, it's all collaborative. I'm not an expert in all. मेरे पास जो knowledge है, I'm happy to share. जो मेरे पास नहीं है, I'm happy to learn. So it was very nice interacting with you, Dr. Kalra, and the team. Thank you so much for inviting me over here.
Thank you. KK Med Talks is a daily show, and I anchor it every Monday and Thursday. हर सोमवार और हर जुमेरात KK Med Talks पे मैं आता हूँ आपके साथ. और सोमवार हम ज़्यादातर बात करते हैं मेडिकल एस्पेक्ट्स की, हेल्थ रिलेटेड एस्पेक्ट्स की, और वीरवार या जुमेरात के दिन हम बात करते हैं फार्मा टॉक्स, where we speak with leaders from the industry like Najeeb Saab. And just keep on watching, keep on tuning in. इकट्ठे मिलके हम ये जो collaboration, जो cooperation है, इसको हम इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं. We can make the world much happier, more harmonious place for all of us. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kalra. Thank you, everyone. See you. Bye-bye. Bye. Good night. Bye.